Hey everyone, and welcome back. We are on episode 6 of The Girls Room, and that's amazing. We are gonna clap for ourselves because wow, shout out to anybody and everybody who is out there creating something for themselves or just getting through the day, honestly, because these winter blues are hitting really hard this year.
Wake up, it's the first of the month.
Shout out to all my creatives out there who are putting in an insane amount of work to put something together that, you know, you don't get instant gratification or instant results from, but we are still here and still pushing through, and that means a lot. So yeah, I can't believe I'm now more than halfway through 10 episodes, and I have no idea how this works since I'm doing this on my own. Like, do people just do it every week forever? Is there like seasons? Like, I'm not sure how this works. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research. But yeah, it's been really exciting, and the feedback, I've said it a million times, has been awesome. So thank you again for tuning in every single week. It means the world to me. So I did get some topics sent to me for this episode by people who have been listening every single episode, and one of the topics, well, two of the topics I felt like went hand in hand with each other. One was how I got started in content creation, and the other was to talk more about my career change. And I did feel like I had touched on my career change in previous episodes, but maybe I didn't really dive into it. So I'll try to give you a better look into kind of my history and how I landed where I am now. So I guess starting with how I got into content creation was always something that I loved. I'm a millennial, I'm a YouTube kid. I've always loved putting videos together. I was always on Vine. I had Instagram when it was just a photo editing app, which there's probably people that don't even know that that's like what Instagram started as. It was just a photo editing app. Obviously all the OG YouTubers were always like a big inspiration. I still follow a lot of them. And I've just always been a creative person. I think trying to figure out what you want to be or do at like 18 or 17 when you're finishing high school is such a big ask. I think a lot of people don't know what they want to do, and I think it's so pushed on us to know, and that's how people wind up going to school and doing things they hate, or just doing things because they feel like it's stable, or they don't want to take a risk, or they don't want to disappoint their parents, and things like that. I knew I didn't want to go to college when I was graduating. I always did pretty well in school. I'm very smart, but I don't like school. I don't enjoy it. And I told my parents that I wanted to go to beauty school, and they didn't really love the idea. So I worked for a few years, and then like odd jobs, like worked in an office. I worked at Nike Town, which honestly was one of the funnest, I know that's not a word, but it was one of the funnest jobs I ever had. I loved working there. I'm still in touch with some people that I did work there with. So yeah, some retail jobs, some office jobs, went to beauty school. I did really enjoy it because it was creative. I've always loved beauty and hair and makeup and makeup a little later on, but I've just always loved fashion and things like that. If I went to college, it would have been for fashion. I went to beauty school, started doing hair, went through an apprenticeship, a pretty decently, like in New York City, you go through a pretty long apprenticeship if you're in a high quality salon. And when you get out of beauty school, you really don't know that much. The test is from like the 1950s, and you're like doing like finger waves and perms on the skateboard. It's like, it's not, you learn once you're on the floor and you're in it. So yeah, I started doing hair, and I've been doing hair for like 10 years. I've been at the same salon for 8. And I just realized that a big part of the job no longer resonated with me. Actually, it never resonated with me. I just never put the dots together. And that is the part where you have to be on all the fucking time. Shout out to anybody in a job like that, because it is really exhausting and draining on your mental health, and you really have to love it. And I did love it for a long time. It's not like I did it for 2 years or a year and then was like, I'm over this. But the connecting to people, I am really good at connecting to people when I click with them. So if I don't connect with you, I won't speak for the entire appointment. And being on and doing the small talk, I'm not good at small talk. I fucking hate it. Doing things like that, it just over time became really, really draining. So I knew I needed to make a change. And after COVID, I think that the change that I needed to make like was becoming more and more obvious. I had no financial stability, and I just like wasn't happy. I felt like I needed to stimulate my mind more. I wanted to learn something new, and I didn't want to learn something new in hair. So that's kind of, I just followed my intuition and my gut, and that's how I listened finally, because I was trying to ignore it for a while. Then I finally listened to it, and I just knew like, okay, you need to make a change. You are very unhappy. So while this was like going on, I was already doing content creation, even for my hair page, like my hair Instagram, I would do like make content, obviously. And it was just always something I just really loved. I love putting videos together. I love taking content of other people. I love all of that. So I stumbled into something called UGC, which I think I touched on in a previous episode, which is user-generated content. And essentially what that is, if you don't know, it's you make content for brands is the short version. So you're not an influencer because you don't post the content on your social media unless you want to or they pay you to. But you make the content for them. So let's say you're scrolling on TikTok and you see something and you realize like it's an ad, but it's someone very organically, most of the time, sometimes it's not very organic, being like, talking about, a new Kosas lip gloss. Kosas does a lot of UGC as well as influencer marketing. What's another brand that does a lot of it? Bloom does a lot of that as well. Armra, Colostrum, they do a lot of UGC. So UGC and influencer marketing are similar, except you're paying that creator much less for the UGC work than you are for obviously like a really big influencer, because that's just different. It's a different payoff. And you can make a lot of money doing UGC if you have the stats and just you have the proof that you're able to, your content turns into conversions. So the marketing side of it is also something that I really, really, really love. Marketing is always something that I'm just, if someone markets themselves really well or a brand has amazing marketing, I'm always just like taken by it. I just think it's so smart. So I started doing that in the beginning of 2023 because that's when I was like, I need to do something else. I need to stand on my own 2 feet and make a lucrative income and start doing something different, because let's be real, like in New York City, in New York, and honestly in a lot of places, if you don't have more than one stream of income, you're just gonna have that one stream of income. Even people that are making $1 million a year in New York City, like it doesn't get you far, which is insane to even say. But you need multiple streams of income and you need to learn how to make passive income. And these are all things that I'm learning. So I'm not an expert by any means in this field, but you know, with doing something like UGC, you make passive income by, let's say I make an ad for your brand and you run that ad for a year, you have to pay me every month that you run that ad for. So that's passive income. And if the ad does really well, sometimes these companies run ads for like really long stretches and then they come back to you for more content. So I started doing that in the beginning of 2023. I bought a course. It was honestly one of the best investments I ever made. It's by a girl named UGC Ange. She's kind of the one that blew up this type of content creation and marketing. She's incredible, super successful, and her course was like the best $200 I ever spent. She's constantly evolving it. She has like a place where you can ask questions, and she puts job posts in for ones that she can't take. So yeah, I started doing it and I really liked it. And from there, I made a lot of connections. And I started getting into social media management, which is kind of where I think I'm leaning more towards because I really enjoy the strategy. So now currently I work 2 days in my salon, Friday and Saturday, and it's like the perfect buffer between me working from home Monday through Thursday and being like a hobbit and not really talking to anyone, to then going and being social briefly in the week. Because although people think I'm very extroverted, I'm also very introverted, and as I've gotten older, my social battery is like really, really small. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. I just don't do well, like I said, with small talk. I get anxiety, like thinking about meeting up with people and having to do like the, hey, how are you? Like, I fucking hate that. I hate doing it. I just like want to know that I'm going to click and have a good time. So I'm very selective with my time. So that's just a little bit about my career change. I think it's enough. I don't want to bore you with like every single detail, but what I can touch on is all the scary parts of it, or not all the scary parts, but the scary parts that I felt that I think are super relatable. And I've talked a lot about this, on this episode, on this podcast. We've talked about imposter syndrome. We've talked about overcoming fears. Let's talk about overcoming people-pleasing habits, because I think a big part of the reason I was so scared to like jump or make a move or do something different was the fear of disappointment, was the fear of the response I would get, and just being conditioned to say yes when I want to say no. If I'm being honest, I feel like it really took an actual like kind of mental breakdown. I know that's not funny, but I had to snap. I had to break for me to like actually make the move that I needed to make. And 0 out of 10, do not recommend for anybody to let it get to that point where you are a shell of a person, because that's what I was. It was very visible. I couldn't hide it anymore. I couldn't fake it. I couldn't do it. When I'm not aligned with something, it's very evident, and I can cover it briefly. And I did cover it for like over a year. Like I was just suppressing all of these feelings that I was feeling because I was too scared to take a chance on myself, and I was too scared to tell my boss. Like all of these things were scary, and my boss is a friend of mine, and she was super understanding in that moment when I did have that breakdown, and she agreed, like, you know, something has to change because you're not you anymore, and you haven't been you, and it's hard to watch. And I think that was like the general consensus from the people around me. And like I said last week, I'm that person that's always like happy or appears happy and you don't think anything's ever like wrong with them. So for me to be showing it and for it to be like really visible that something was wrong, it's really bad. I could no longer hide it. So I do not recommend that. I do recommend talking these things out and through even when they're scary. I understand that people have work situations where they don't have the luxury to have a boss that gives a shit or that wants to hear what they're going through or what they're feeling. But if that's the case, then maybe you should stop and sit back for a second and reflect on if that's where you want to be. Because of course, work is work and we can't be like babied all the time, but if it's very clear that you're needing like something more or you're needing a change and then you're in an environment that doesn't like cultivate that, then you just need to evaluate it. Because so many people that I talk to like through clients and things like that, I talk to them and it's like, what's better? Like, I sit there and I'm thinking, I don't have stability. I'm so unhappy, all of these things. And then I talk to someone that works in a corporate job and they fucking hate it too. And they hate it more because, they feel trapped because they do have the stability, the benefits, all of the things that those types of jobs give you, but they don't have the aspect where people like give a shit about your well-being and you're overworked and you're all these things. And it's such a case by case thing for everybody, and everybody kind of has to go through that in their own way. But like I said, I just do not recommend letting it get to the point where you are actually a broken shell of a person. Nobody wants that. It's so unhealthy and it's honestly so sad to watch, and it can go left. Like that can get worse and worse and worse, and God forbid like you just find yourself in a place that's you can't come back from, or that is really hard to come back from. And those are all learning experiences too. But if you can save yourself that heartache and that trouble, then I suggest that you do. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have about this topic. Like I said, this is specific to my situation and what I went through, and I do feel like my situation's a little bit unique just because I feel like most people like have a corporate job or something like that where it's not like an artist's environment. It's not a creative environment, so it's a little bit harder to make a move. So I'm happy to try to help where I can, but my advice would be to really reflect and really evaluate where you're at and think about the other things that you might want to do, and then try them somehow if you can, or just take a leap and bet on yourself. I mean, everyone is situational. Not everybody could do that. For me, I left one unstable thing for another unstable thing. So it was definitely a different situation. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into doing this. And as far as my podcast goes, with like the whole content creation theme and how I got into it, the idea just came to me, and many ideas come to me that I ignore. I ignore them because I'm either scared or I think that I can't make it come to life. So when I first had the idea for this, I like told a couple people. I told like my best friends, I told my girlfriend, Amanda, and they were like, that sounds like a good idea. The theme, me getting it from the Amanda show, and like kind of the background behind like the reasoning of why I did it, kind of being like a no bullshit, safe space, keeping it real, but also being mindful of where people are at, and just kind of being like a well-rounded space where you can talk about things, but also like we're not sugarcoating here. And everybody said they thought it was a good idea. And if you've ever read the book Big Magic, I think it was Big Magic, she talks about like ideas and how ideas hop from person to person. And if you don't do it, then somebody else is going to do it. So I was like so sucked into trying to make like TikTok work, and I was terrified to post Instagram reels because, like we spoke about, like just so scared to be seen trying, so scared to do something new, so scared for every single person I ever fucking met in my life to see it. And TikTok's like not like that. And I'm like, YouTube just feels like it could work for this. And podcasting, I think long form content is more my jam. I think I'm better in this type of setting where I can like just flow and talk. Whereas on TikTok, you have like 3 seconds to grab someone's attention. If you're not interesting enough, they don't fucking care because all of our attention spans are fucked. And now they want to roll out long form content after they've dwindled our attention spans to 30 fucking seconds. If that. That's like a long time for a fucking TikTok. Because we are just so accustomed to swiping up, and if we're not interested, we keep going. And that's what TikTok has always been. Now, apparently, they are coming for their YouTube bag, even though they're in their QVC bag right now, and they want to start pushing longer form content. Right now, it's on the smaller scale. It's like over 1 minute is considered longer form content for them. But yeah, so I just tried something new. Like, instead of putting all my eggs in one basket, I said, I have this idea. This idea sounds like a good idea. Even when I say it to other people, they think it's a good idea. I don't think they're lying. So let me try it. And obviously, like, I'm still learning, but I tried it and it's been great. Like, I think everybody has a different avenue that works for them. I just think that like we all have gotten so sucked up into like TikTok world because that's what's been like blowing people up. But now everything comes back around. So if you're a content creator and you're listening to this, here are some gems that I'm dropping as a social media manager. Everything comes back around. So long form content is back. YouTubing is back. Landscape videos are back. Of course, 9x16 is still preferred for Reels and TikTok, but TikTok is going to start doing the landscape style videos just like YouTube. So yeah, if you're like wanting to try content creation and you've been trying content creation and things don't seem to be clicking, just remember it doesn't happen overnight for everyone. Obviously here and there it does happen, but actually maintaining that audience, that longevity is not, it's not, what's the word I'm trying to think of? That's not rooted most of the time in going viral. Like virality, I've had a video pop off 2.1 million views. It was like the dumbest video on earth. I did get maybe like a few hundred followers from it, but like it wasn't me and it wasn't about me. So like trending sounds and going viral off things like that, it just typically isn't going to build you a community and an audience. And I also think that this year is very much about building community, connecting to creators treating their audience truly like their friends, engaging back and forth. These are the things that are important, and I'm glad because we should be blowing up the right people. Blowing up people that care, blowing up people that should have a voice and a platform. So yeah, for me, it's this podcast. And I have really big dreams for this podcast. So we'll see. I mean, it's been going up. And then as far as my social media business goes, that's also been steadily going up. And like I've said in the past, if I look at where I was in the beginning of 2023, when I said I'm making a change, it's evident that I've made a lot of those changes and have continued making those changes. So if something's like really, really calling to you, and I've said this before, go towards that calling. And those are just my tips for based on my experience from my career change. So I hope that answered both of those questions that I got this week. And another topic, which was dating apps. Now, I would love to talk about dating apps. I have never been on a dating app. Can you believe that? Like, it's 2024. I'm obviously in a relationship, so I won't be on a dating app. Even before that, I always wound up dating people that I knew or met through a friend or something like that. Like my girlfriend now, we knew each other before we started dating. So I haven't experienced it, but I have heard so many stories from clients and from my friends, like actually insane. So I already have my friend Lauren. She gave me some juice from the dating apps that she's been on, but I would really like to compile like dating app stories. So will you guys send me your dating app stories? Because I really want to know, or just dating stories in general. I would love to read them to an audience. Let's see, do I have any crazy... I mean, I've dated people that turned out to be like psychopaths, but I didn't meet them on an app. And yeah, I definitely have a lot of stories of like toxic relationships. And I can talk about them if you guys want, but I think the dating app culture is so interesting. It's literally like a job. It's like you're interviewing people all day. So if you have dating app stories that you think would be shareable, then please don't hesitate to send them to tgrpod.nyc@gmail.com, because we want to hear about it. I really want to hear about it. So please spill the tea with me, because I really want to know. Speaking of dating, kind of, Vanderpump Rules season 11 aired. I watched it this morning for market research purposes, obviously, because I wanted to see like what's going on. And Ariana met her new man, and yeah, they touched on that very lightly. But episode 1 was good. Obviously, it's just the first episode. I will say that, like, I really do love Lala, but I feel like her mother complex, like, with Raquel is, like, so weird, because anytime she's tried to have any sort of relationship with Raquel, it always, like, blows up, because those two just, like, are not meant to be friends at all. And I just felt like maybe it was just for the show and, like, production. I could see why she related to it, but you're like in the same breath talking to Ariana and telling her that you feel like you've never connected, and then like 1 second later it's telling her you sent a voice note to Raquel because you wanted to talk to her. Mind you, it said on there that this was filmed 3 months after everything blew up. So I don't know, I just feel like, yes, Ariana is getting her flowers as she deserves them, but I feel like even like after the reunion, people were like coming at her for how hard she came at Raquel. Like, I mean, it was like 2 weeks after she just fucking had her life blown up. Like, I would tell you to go fuck yourself with a cheese grater too if I was in that situation. Like, people were saying she just like went too far, and I'm like, I don't know. I think the only people that went too far were Tom and Raquel. But yeah, I thought that scene was a little weird, trying to get close to her while in the same breath reaching out to this person that you fucking hate and ripped a new asshole. And yes, people can change, but I don't know. It was just weird. And like, you don't need to save everyone, Lala. Like, if she's gonna wear that scarlet letter, then she's gonna wear it. I mean, Sheena's been wearing it for fucking 100 years. Like, it just kind of is the name of the game. Like, you will wear it. Why are you, like, you don't have to, like, own it, though. Like, you don't have to, like, I never hear anybody talking about Sheena and that situation anymore. Like, it's gone. I don't even, when I look at Lala, I don't even think of her as some sort of mistress or something like that. Like, it's just, it doesn't it just doesn't add up. Those are really the only comments I have. Obviously, we'll see like where the season goes. I think the girls all look great. They all look beautiful. James looks great too. He looks like really healthy. I'm glad he's not drinking. So yeah, nothing too much on Vanderpump yet. But I will talk about another show that I'm loving so far, and it's Griselda. Sofia Vergara is incredible in this in this series on Netflix. It is actually insane to me that people don't know who Griselda Blanco is. I don't know if it's just like Latin people know, but like I literally, like, I've seen people on TikTok say they don't know who Griselda Blanco is, which I don't know, like, she's always been just someone that, like, I just knew who she was. Like, her story is actually, like, insane, and so brutal and violent, and, like, just insane, like, where she came from, like, how young she was when this life started for her. She was, like, 11 or something when she was, like, living with a pimp and was, like, being prostituted. Like, it's just insane. But Sofia Vergara is amazing. If you haven't watched it, you should. I'm not done with it yet, but it's a mini series. It's only 6 episodes, and she, I know, really wanted to break away from being Gloria Pritchett and step into a different season, and she is just amazing. She's doing an amazing job. I typically don't love Netflix produced shows. They're usually like overproduced and feel very fake and acty to me, but this actually doesn't. So that's something you should definitely watch. I think I saw something that she was on Kelly Clarkson, and Kelly Clarkson said something like to the effect that she didn't look like they did anything different to her for the role or something like that. I didn't watch it, so I could be off, but I saw this online. And are you blind? Her teeth, her nose, her skin. Sofia Vergara is, like, beautiful. Like, I was, like, a little concerned. Like, do you have eyes? Because she has prosthetics, like, it's a whole thing. She said, like, all of the things that she had to do. Obviously, she doesn't look just like Griselda Blanco, but, like, she definitely, so far, I'm not even done yet, because I know when Griselda died, she was, you know, much bigger woman than Sofia Vergara, so I'm wondering if they're, like, changing that too. But right now, playing her younger, she's like smaller, so I'm curious to see what the transformation will be like. Just random information that I know, her son, Michael Corleone Blanco, quite the name, he was on a show called Cartel Crew on VH1, which was basically like the Narcos version of Mob Wives, but it wasn't really that good. He was the only one, from what I remember, from like a notable Colombian cartel drug family, and the show was kind of corny like the other people were, and now he's suing Netflix over this show, and suing Sofia over this show because he wasn't asked about it or didn't get anything about it, and he's apparently upset about the way his mother was portrayed and all of this stuff, and that he's over this, like, he's not into this life. But he also has like a clothing line that's like, it's called something like about being in the cartel, like I can't remember what it is, and you know, his mother had his father killed in real life. She killed all three of her husbands, and including his dad, like right in front of him when he was a kid. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how many other ways that you can portray certain things. I don't feel like she was not to be fucked with, period, end of story. So obviously I didn't live it, he did, and I'm sure he's probably just upset that they are profiting off of his mother's story. I don't even know how old he was when she died, but that's a good watch. So that's something for you to rot in hell and watch on this lovely Sunday. The episode is going to be short and sweet. I'm going to end it here with my high and low of the week. My high of the week is nice and simple and very girly, and it's that I ordered new skincare that I'm really excited to try. I'm gonna try Rhode, Hailey Bieber's line, because I've heard her glazing milk is amazing. And then I'm gonna place a second order for a bunch of Korean skincare products. I use some products now, or I'm not sure if that one is, but I use MediHeal toner pads, the brightening ones, and I love those. They are Korean skincare, and I want to try more Korean skincare. So I can let you guys know what those products are, and I'll let you know how the Rhode Beauty stuff is. I am excited to try it. I don't usually like celebrity beauty products, but I was influenced, easily influenced, because the glazing milk just looked great. And they do a box for like $90 or $95, which comes out to less than ordering the individual products, and they're all full size in the box. So I got that. So I'm gonna try the new face wash, the glazing milk, and I think there's a toner. And then they also put the lip peptide treatment in there, which I love the Rhode peptide lip treatment. If you haven't tried it, it's so glossy. It's really hydrating. I am obsessed with lip products. Another topic I got was for me to talk about my lips. I have an amazing injector. I'll put her Instagram here. Her name is Lauren. She's based in the city and on Long Island. So if you need someone, you can see her. But I haven't gone in a really long time, and they hold up really well. So that's that. High of the week is skincare, and also I ordered a new lip combo from Sephora that should be arriving today, and I can't wait to try that either. So it's the little things. I'm PMSing, so that in turn means that I randomly buy things in the middle of the night. Relatable. And my low of the week is, I did this backwards. I usually do my low first and then my high, but that's okay. I think my low of the week is that I'm just having a hard time managing my time now that I work for myself more, or basically fully am for the most part working for myself, juggling this podcast. The editing for this takes me like 6 hours sometimes, and I'm doing it on like Sunday morning. So I kind of have I'm working like 7 days basically when I really like lay it out. Even if I'm not working the full day on those days, I am getting something done every single day, and then I'm in the salon Friday and Saturday. So I think managing my time, I do have ADD or ADHD, one of them, I don't know, I found that out this morning. So I'm gonna try to set timers for myself, and try not to get so overwhelmed by things, because usually when I pick a task and focus on it and do it that way, I'm fine and I get it done and it's great. But I did do the timer thing yesterday or the day before, and it actually did help me. I set an hour for each task on a timer. Once that hour was done, I went to the next task. So trying to be better about planning out my day so that I don't feel like burned out and exhausted, because I don't want to that's a sure shit way to start like hating what you're doing. And I don't want to do that. Like, I almost talked myself out of not filming this podcast today because I was just like overwhelmed by my thoughts and thinking like, I don't have anything good to talk about. I didn't plan, all of these things. And then I just was like, okay, get your makeup on, you have some topics to talk about. Everything is going to be okay. Show up for yourself and get it done. So even though it's my low, we're still making it a high, right? Because we're going to be positive, because we're going to be our own biggest cheerleader, and we're getting our validation from within. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. I hope you have an amazing week ahead, and I will see you next Sunday for episode 7. Oh my my God, when I hit episode 10, should I like get balloons or something? People do that when they get like 1 million followers. I'll just do it when I hit 10 episodes. We'll see. We got to celebrate somehow, some way, right? All the little things. So have an amazing week. I love you, and I'll see you next week for another episode of The Girls Room with Clarissa. Love you. Bye.